Good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster, touching base with you as I do every day. I hope everyone is doing well on this Chip Tuesday. It's been 1 week since the administrations have changed. So what's going on? And we celebrate 1 week of surviving. 1 week. We survived 1 week of change and some craziness, right? But anyway, good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing? It is Tip Tuesday, and we're going to be talking about how to, let me get that up on the screen. Hold on a second. We're going to be talking about what camera should I buy as a beginner. And I said, I thought about this. I said, you know what? It is January. We're starting our first Tip Tuesday. Why not just start from the very beginning, right? Because there's some folks out here that are new to the community that don't know and how to find a camera. Then we go through the lesson. So we're going to take us, I'm going to take you from the very beginning, and then we're going to start doing lessons and hardcore lessons as each week progresses. How does that sound? Okay, so that's what we're going to do. But before we get to our what camera should I buy as a beginner segment, we got politics. So here we go. And well, first of all, let's say good morning. Let's say good morning. The first person in the building is Hannah. Hannah Boy Miller is in the building. She says, good morning, Ron and Touch Base Daily family. How are you? I see those little boom, 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 booms. And I see Lisa's in the building. Number 2 in the spot today. Lisa's early. Morning, everyone, she says. Anthony's number 3. He says, good morning to all the beautiful people. And yes, he just paused. Yes, we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that. Federal grants paused. Okay, and evil never sleeps. Yes, baby. Evil never sleeps. Holy moly, what is going on? And I said, oh, shucks, I got the silver. Lisa said she got the silver today. She certainly did. She got the silver today. Yeah, a week and a day. No, it's a week. He got sworn. Wait, was it Monday he got? Oh, yes, right. You're right. It was Monday he got sworn in. That's right. My bad. It's a week and a day. It's a full week. Should I say it's a full week? There we go. And so, yes, so much to talk about. Since Lisa did bring it up, he just paused all federal grants and loans. Man, FA, FO. And I know that most people think Black kids are the only ones that use Pell Grants and all these other grants for going to school, grants for education, grants for projects, grants for science, grants. See, DEI was a deception. It was a little Trojan horse. It made people think DEI was about Black people. It was a Trojan horse. It affects Black people, but not as much as you think. It's going to affect a whole lot of people. And a lot of white women got Pell Grants and grants to go to school. A lot of white guys got grants to go to school. Because last I checked, there's a lot of people that are not wealthy in America. Hello. There's a lot of wealth. There's a wealth in America, but most of us are just regular folks. Most of us are just regular folks. And those grants are going to hurt. Not only that, They also suspended money from Africa, which I knew was going to happen. That's why I had to say, you know what? I have to analyze living in Africa. I have to wait. Like, that's why I said I have to go to like each place to kind of get used to living there when I decide to move out to Africa and take this show on the road. But I also know that a lot of countries depend on American grants. HIV funding in Africa has been suspended. Allegedly, I think that came out yesterday, 2 days ago. No, that was maybe Friday. So all of those countries and fighting HIV, all those Africans that were saying, I love Trump, I love Trump. FA-FO. FA-FO. Everyone's going to have an FA moment. What's going on, Mr. DT? DT Tuggles in the building with his wonderful Twitch account. What's going on? He says, good morning, Ron. Anybody in Twitch? Oh, let me say good morning to some folks over in Instagram. If there any people out there in the Instagram world. Okay, let's see who's out there. I see Signs for BLM is in. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Signs for BLM? Oh, wow. Come on over to Touch Base Daily on YouTube. Oh, wow. I haven't seen him since BLM days when we were running the streets. Okay. Let's see who else is in the building. I see more folks that walked in. Let's see here. Let me get my concentration right. Okay, got the Loans in. Good morning. I got the Evil Never Sleeps. Yes. Morning, Hannah. And a week and a day. Yeah. And I'm catching up. Sorry, I'm catching up to y'all. I'm catching up. And Bryson's in the building. There we go. What's up, Ron? What's up, RLP fam? What's up, CQ fam? Yeah. He got sworn in on MLK Day. How could I forget that, right? Kelly A's in the building. Good morning, everyone, she says. Hey, everyone. Kimmy says. Lisa says HEAP too. Some people said EBT too. Yep, y'all effed around and now you are finding out. You effed around and now you're finding out. I see in the building is the food plane. Hello, Ron, she says. Hello, Ron. DS here. How you doing? And did I miss it? What camera is best for big? No, you didn't miss it. We haven't started on that point yet. We are going through politics at first, and then the last half hour will be your lesson. Well, I'm going a little bit before the half hour. Okay, and I see in here, Lisa says, honestly, they need to pass an amendment to limit executive orders and pardons. That way, each president will be mindful because they only have so many. Agreed, Lisa. But you know what? Not until the Trump era has there been that many pardons. No, there was no consideration of pardoning 1,500 people. Just wasn't in the cards. People didn't think that way until the Trump era. I do believe, I should say. And Warren says, good morning, fam. The food plane. Also, what are your thoughts about the DJI pocket cameras? They are popular now. We'll talk about that. I'm going to put a pin in that. Then you put a pin in that. There we go. Bryson says, they're about to learn the hard way. Anthony says, my church sent doctors and other volunteers to Kenya to help with healthcare. We also sent 80,000 for a well so the village will have clean water. It's going to take a village for all of us to survive. We are going to have to see the world differently. Let me see here. Hey, my brother. Hey, Michael Young is in the building. Photographer extraordinaire. Yes, indeed. Kelly says, good morning. Again, Hannah to Hannah. Warren says, I came across your appearance on GR Houston YouTube channel. It's a must watch. Yes, I've been interviewed by a couple of people out there. David Mascaro is in the building. He says, good morning, all. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Let me see here. Let me see here. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, first thing up. Here we go. I'm going to share with something with you. You probably already know, maybe you don't know, but I'm going to share this with you because, again, criminals who are criminals will be criminals and they will stay criminals. So here we go. First headlines of the day. Pardon J6er fatally shot amid altercation with police. Matthew W. Huddle, a 42-year-old who served time for his role in the January 6th Capitol attack and was pardoned by Donald Trump, was shot and killed by a Jasper County Sheriff's deputy during a traffic stop in India following an altercation with the officer. Police say Huddle was armed and resisted arrest. Now, I wonder where he got that idea that he could be armed and resist the police officers. Where did that idea come from? Who put that mindset in that individual? Who fostered that behavior? Just saying. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of them because a lot of those guys, I should say not a lot, I'll just say many of those guys have criminal tendencies as well. And some of these, this was their first time in jail. Some had committed crimes before. Some will continue to commit crimes now. Yeah, Sixers. I heard that. Is it true that did someone know if it's true that they are planning a gathering for them at the White House to celebrate them? Is that in the grapevine there? Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, yes. Bryson, you know, that was, did y'all hear about this? I'm not going to show the footage because it's heartbreaking. But Bryson says, how y'all feel about Selena Gomez got emotional when they got deportment from for people that were Mexican. I know what you're trying to say, Bryson. So Selena Gomez went online to air her grievance, or I should say her hurt, because people were being deported and it was sad. And she was weeping and she was crying online. She was crying on her page. And you know the mega brains went after her. Cruelty in the mega brain is the point. Cruelty. And she was sincerely, you know how we, how we all go online sometimes, those that have a platform, and we share our thoughts, we share what's on our minds, we share what's going on, we share, if we're hurt or we're angry or we support something, we're glad, we're encouraged, and we just share. So she went online, it was 2 days ago, and she shared her sadness for all of the deportees that are getting, people getting deported and being raided, and the fear that is going on in the Spanish community right now, because they really seem like they're only going after the Spanish folks. However, FO, that's not coming out of being callous. But a lot of those people, there were some people, I don't say a lot of people, but there were some people that went after her, called her names, saying, how does she can't do anything because she's rich, and yada, 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 yada. Who does she think she is? And just sad what kind of country we've become, that you cannot go online and share how hurt you are about people being hurt. Man, it's kind of sad. I see DT says karma, fast and swift. Yes. Hey, Elise says, good morning, everyone. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we're going back. Yep. There's, allegedly, Anthony says there is another Sixer that's allegedly under investigation for pedophilia. I'm not surprised. Exandra P is in the building. What's up? What's up? What's up, young lady? She says, good morning, Ron. Make sure you hit the likes if you are in the building. Make sure you hit the likes. Make it a habit when you come in the building, you hit the likes, because we already know you like what you wouldn't be here if you didn't like being here. Lisa says, what was she telling us she is sorry for voting for him? If so, FAFO, not being cruel, but we told y'all. Now, we don't know who she voted for. She didn't indicate that. But this first wave is hitting a lot of Spanish folks. So far, I haven't seen really any black people being rounded up. I haven't seen any white people being rounded up. However, I've been seeing a whole lot of Spanish people being riled up. It's kind of sad. Kind of sad. I see in the building. Hey, DeSava is in the building. What's going on? What's going on? And I see also Mr. Jamel Shabazz is in the building. David says, the hate has always been here. We just see it now because of social media. Oh, contra. I will say, yes, the hate has always been here, but the hate has grown since the first term of the Trump administration. Remember, record hate numbers were being calculated during the Trump administration, because he gives a license to these people. He gives a license to these people. So yes, hate has been under the rocks. Hate has been under boulders. But hate is now in the forefront, because hate is the key to mega hating of the others, hating black people, hating Spanish people, hating poor white people, hate is the point. You cannot be part of mega without some levels of hate. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Yes, hate has been here, but it's here even more. It's more hate in the world today. Why? Well, think about it. When Trump took office, there were a lot of 8-year-olds, right? Let's even say 12-year-olds. And those 12-year-olds were raised in the Trump era of hate. And so they spent their first 4 years, so their informative teenage years from 12 to 16 in a world of wonderful hate from the Orange Menace. So they grew up with that as their norm. Then they grew up still seeing the Orange Menace spiraling his hate into the world for 4 years of Joe Biden. So now those 16-year-olds are what? 20-year-olds. And a lot of those were men, young boys that became men they came of age in the Trump era. And that's why we see more hate. There's a new wave of hate for the other, a new love for Trump because that's all they know. Just saying. D. Savage says, the first team of the Trump administration was due to the successful term of Obama. We knew that. Yes, indeed. We were surprised, but we should have been prepared for what we are seeing now. We had our heads buried in the sand. Hello, Democrats. Hello, people. Day Saver says it. She hits it on the nail. Folks act like this wasn't going to happen. When the man told you what he was going to do, he told you what he was going to do in the last time he was in office, and there were people that stopped him. But now there are no people to stop him. And you got a Supreme Court that supports him. And he says the hate is more in the open now. Here's one. Lisa says, the news said those military planes are over $800,000 each flight. Think about that. I read one that was 80,000, but it could be 800,000. It could be between the two. 80. The cost that it's costing these people that did what do you call it? Oxymoron. The cost is to pay for these roundups and deportations and the flights and the payroll. It would have been better off to just process these people, the good people, I should say, because not everyone's a criminal that's being rounded up. And they could educate them, fix them, talk to them, there's so much that you can do with $800,000 each flight, even if it's $80,000 each flight. Think of how much money is being spent for bad when you could be using it for good. You could be using that money to help people. There's a reason why they came to America. Now, yes, we know there are criminals that came in as well. And yes, they should be deported. Because why should we allow them to be here? But for the most part, migrants are good people looking for a chance. Anthony says, hate and intolerance are pillars of the MAGA cult, combined with the willful ignorance, and you will have a nation of zombies. Anthony Lee says, absolutely, Anthony. This country was built on hate and intolerance. We know that, yes. This country was built on stealing, thievery, conniving, killing, raping, pillaging. That's what made America so-called great. Oh, yes, Elise, they don't care about the people. Here's something I wanted to do a beeline on, because I want you to get an educated point of view from yesterday's conversation, and it was timely, and we're gonna, let me see here. Let me let me do this. Hold on a second. Can I change it? Can I change it? Yeah, I think I can. Hold on. I think I can. Will it change on the screen? Hold on. My little cursor there. No, we want to change this. We want to change that. Stop screen. Okay, there we go. And go to another screen. How about me just going full screen? Because I'm going to toggle between them. Let's just go entire screen. There we go. Okay. This is something I think we could all learn something from. This this woman here, she gives us the meaning, the truth about DEI. You are going to be surprised of what she says. Here she goes. Oops. Oh, you can't hear it? Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. Oh, my bad. Hold on. I thought you could hear. Hold on a second. Let me go back. I gotta go to regular screen. Okay. Let's go. Let's try that again. Let's try it again. Sorry, my bad, guys. I'm just like enjoying the show. And I did not see y'all tweeting. Okay, here we go. Let's try it again. Let's do it again. Here we go. I'm going to refresh this screen. Reload. Okay. Hold on a second. What happened there? Okay, let's go back. Little technical difficulty there. Hold on a second. Okay, let's try the screen again. How did the screen go to the left? Okay, let's try to get that over. And okay. Okay, here we go. There we go. Here we go. Let's try it again. Here we go.
Here's some information for you. The number one recipient of DEI are white women. That is according to the U.S. Department of Labor. And others fall under that group, under the minority group, the ethnic minority. Number one recipient under that group are Latino and Hispanic Americans. Number two are Asian Americans. Number three are Native Americans. Number four, individuals with disability. Number five, veterans. Okay? And number six, the LGBTQ plus community. And guess who comes last at receiving DEI benefits? Guess who comes last? That's right. Black Americans, Black people. Let me also say, you can do a Google search and you will see the primary benefactors of DEI programs are not only white women, but white men, white male CEOs. Those are the ones who have benefited the most from DEI initiative programs.
Isn't that cool? I mean, hello. I mean, that, huh, huh. I love truth. I love facts. Yes. Yes. That's what Elise says. Elise says, this is the same with affirmative action. It's the truth. But they've been deceived. The country has been deceived because, again, the Republicans like to play and pit people together and have you angry at one group of people so you can feel good about yourself. You know, the white racist folks out there. But the biggest benefactor has been white women. Same thing with the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments. I mean, hello. And I, I keep saying this. They are going after white women in ways that people just don't understand. They just don't understand. Handmaid's Tale may not be that far away, but I mean, if you've seen Handmaid's Tales and how who who are the folks that lost their rights in Handmaid's Tales, right? Man, the knowledge is power. So again, I always say African Americans only make up 14% of the population. Of the American population. There's not that many of us. There's not a lot of us compared to the whole country. But yet they make it as if we are everywhere, taking from them. Taking from them. But DEI benefits five other categories more than it benefits us. That's right. And we know. Think about Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. But how did he become the richest man in the world? One of the contributing factors, the United States government gave him welfare, right? Gave him grants and money for the space program and all the other things he's building and creating. They gave him money. He didn't just become rich, as in the richest man in the world. Isn't that crazy? The biggest benefactors of this is definitely white women, white men, Hispanics, Asians, Native Americans, LGBTQ later on at the list, and then also veterans and disability. If you listen to Fox, you would think it was black folks. It's always DEI. Every time something happens, oh, he's a DEI hire. And they just poison the well. The poison the well of knowledge. Okay, let's see what you guys saying here. They say it says the number one recipient is no different from the number one recipient of civil rights, is one and the same. Who is she? And where can we find that breakdown? I got the link. I'm putting the link inside this description, so you'll have it right in the description. Okay. There's something else I wanted to share with you guys because we had a good time yesterday talking, and and I wanted to give you guys some tools to be able to go out and be warriors. Here's the other topic we talked about yesterday, and I thought it needed to be a little bit more dived into, and then we can talk about it in depth on tomorrow. But I wanted you to see this because I think this is extremely important. And here we go. And this is the conversation we had yesterday on boycotting.
If folk are talking about an economic boycott. So let me now move on to the next thing. Anybody who has watched this show, you have heard me often refer to Dr. King's sermon, April 3rd, 1968, at Mason Temple in Memphis. You've heard me talk about economic withdrawal. You've heard me talk about when MLK said in that sermon how we are collectively or individually poor, but collectively wealthy, and how we need to be operating as a collective when it comes to trying to change the economics of our situation. You've heard me quote him in that sermon when he says, we don't have to throw one Molotov cocktail. We don't have to yell and curse anybody out. He said, what we must do is practice economic withdrawal. Companies that don't do business with us and don't hire us, we don't do business with them. In the exact same speech, he also said to black people on that rainy, stormy night in Memphis, how we must be supporting black institutions. He mentions buying from black insurance companies. He mentions how SCLC opened a bank account with a black bank there in Memphis. He talked about how we must be doing a bank-in, a buy-in for black-owned businesses. He literally says it in the sermon. See, part of the problem is most black folk have allowed white folk to frame for us who Dr. King was and is. And so therefore, when we talk about his mountaintop speech, all we talk about are the bottom 2 minutes of that speech and not the other 41 minutes and 16 seconds of the speech. That's why most folks listening right now have no idea what I'm talking about, because you don't even realize that that's what he actually said in that sermon. Because at one point he even references Jesse Jackson. He said, Jesse, what do you call it? Economic. He said, redistribute the pain. He said, so far, the black sanitation workers, they're the ones who have been enduring the pain. Now, if we do an economic withdrawal, we must now redistribute the pain.
So just pause there, and then we're gonna go to the next one. But he really does a great. Roland has been on a roll this week. Let me tell you. Again, if you're not following Roland and supporting Roland, please do so, because he has been educating us with so much information that is historic. And because also, in order for us to get through this period, we are going to have to call on our ancestors. We are going to have to look at how our ancestors, our grandparents, our uncles, our aunts, how they navigated the civil rights movement in order to gain ground in this new era. Because the cat's out the bag. 2025 is here. It's being implemented. It's going to get, this is only 7 days in, y'all. And it's going to get so, we have no idea how bad it's going to get. We could only imagine. But he was, because we were talking about, yesterday we were talking about boycotting Target and all these different companies. And Roland breaks it down and shares about how to go into these. You have to have a plan. You just can't just throw it out into the world and say, hey, we're just going to boycott. So that he and a bunch of folks are organizing how we can boycott. He also yesterday talked about it can't just be Black people. It has to be everyone. But if it's just us, then it will be just us. But Black people, it has to be everyone going and saying, you know what? We are not buying from these people. But you got to have a strategy. So I challenge everyone to, I'll put the link, it's going to be in the description of this video so you can check it out. I'm going to get ready to go do our teaching class in a moment, do our Tip Tuesday, and teach some folks how to pick out a camera. But check that out. Tomorrow we'll have time in our water cooler talk to dive into it. And we'll have our panel discussion, everything. But look into it. It is Roland Martin's, it's called Black Economic Boycotts Must Be Driven by Strategy, Not Emotions Masterclass. And it was a masterclass yesterday. So Anthony says, yes, we have to have allies for this to truly be effective, much like the civil rights movement. And he was sharing about the boycott, the buses, how it took 380. I didn't even know that number. I just learned that number yesterday with Roland. 381 days the boycott went for. That means people were going to work, walking to work in the cold, in the rough weather, the rain, the storms. They walked 381 days. So you know what that is? That's more than a year. And he was talking about also the masterclass he was sharing is how we cannot think of this as, oh, I'm just going to do this for a week or two. When you start, when you say you're going to boycott something, it is a long term until change is made. Yeah. And that was one of the key words yesterday. We have to be willing to sacrifice something. We have to be willing to sacrifice something. Yes. So it was a good show. I said Roland has been on a roll between, but and then because between last week on Friday and yesterday, man, I was like, yo, Roland is not playing. And his panel is amazing. Great educators. He got a young lady, a woman there that she's an economic major, professor, PhD in economics. And it was a really good discussion. So if you have not seen it, again, I'll just put it up so you just see it's at the bottom. Black economic boycotts must be driven by strategy. That's the episode you want to see, not emotions. Masterclass, and it was a masterclass. So love to educate you. So we were talking about it yesterday. I thought it was so important that we talked about it and give you some resources today. Especially we were talking about it yesterday, and then he did that last night. So I was like, you know what? This is something I need to share. DeSava says it meant Black people were willing to be uncomfortable for Black people. So when I see Kurt remarks such as, I'm not our ancestors, if they only knew our ancestors were badass. That's right. Our ancestors did it for us. Many times when you saw those interviews, when they interviewed those folks, they always said, my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. They did it for us. Now we have to figure out how to get out of our selfish society that we've been groomed into, that we've allowed to take place in the communities. That's across the board. The Spanish community, the Black community, poor white people, middle-class white people, middle-class Black people. We've become a selfish society that sacrificed for no one. Right? So Let's get motivated. Let's surround ourselves with truth. Let's, support these folks that are helping us to navigate, because it's going to take all of us to make a difference. One can be a voice in the wind, but 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, hundreds of thousands, 1,000,000 people make a difference. He does a breakdown of how Rihanna went out against, I think, chat, what do they call it? The app with the kids are on, something chat. But they did something. They were, about her, about abuse. They said something. They got, as I say, as Gwendolyn likes to say, got out of pocket about abuse and treated it lightly, and she cost that company $800,000 loss on their stock sheet just by going after them, and her whole fan base went after them. So there's power in numbers. Yes, there's power in numbers. So choose wisely, y'all. Thank you, Snapchat. I was like, what chat it is? I know it's a chat. Snapchat. Thank you. People have to be willing to say, I know my products is in that store, but don't shop there. Yep. And that was Roland hits both, how we were talking about yesterday. Roland hits both sides of the argument. And so anyway, it was a true masterclass. Check it out. I think you will learn a lot. Okay, so now it's time for class. It is time for our class. It is time to talk about what camera should I buy as a beginner? Because I went through, oh, wait. Did y'all hear about the stock market suffering some losses yesterday? Well, I did something that in response to it. So yesterday, there was this little stock that came into the world. China's stock called DeepSeek prompts global sell-off in AI-linked stocks, according to Reuters. So the the Chinese AI system has beat out American systems, and they're on top of that, they're giving it away. It's for free. So they found a way to outdo AI, like chat, all the chat boxes and all the stuff that's out there. I use Copilot. Some people use something, the other chat. Then there's a bunch of them. But the AI is Gemini for Google. The chat bots, everything that chats, the AI that helps you. Well, I said, well, why not try this app? So I download it, DeepSeek. I wanted to just play with it and see it has become the #1 download on Apple, in the Apple Store. It is one of the fastest growing apps in the world. And it brought down the market yesterday. Now, we can go dive into talking about it. But the reason why I bring this up is because I used it for my lesson. I usually use my Copilot to do my lessons with you guys. But I said, let me try DeepSeek and see how it help me prepare my lesson for this platform, for our community. And I must say, it did a phenomenal job. it was so thorough. I had to kind of like change some things out, take some things, moves. It was so detailed, excuse me, that I had to go in and make some major adjustments. But it definitely assisted well in this lesson plan. So, for those out there that have not tried DeepSeek, you might want to try it. I mean, like I said, I've only tried it. It's only been 28. It's only been 24 hours, but I like what I'm seeing in it, and it's free. It gives you everything that the other ones that you're paying for are giving you, and it took the market down yesterday. The Nasdaq, which is usually the technical I should say, stock exchange, it got crushed yesterday. However, the Dow Industrials came back. It was up to almost 300 points. But yeah, she says, I went on Robinhood to see if I could buy shares. Look at Lisa. It's for free. Anyway, so I just want to give you disclosure. This is how I prepare these lessons. Is I use my AI. I use my AI because I can put my thoughts down and say, this is what I want, and this is what I want to do for my YouTube channel, my community, and then it'll say, this is what I've come up with, and this according to your words and what you want. No, because you're not giving them anything. I mean, all you do is signing up with your Google like you do. And look, at this point, I'm like, most of these platforms are going to see into your gut. So anyway, but let's talk about photography real quick as we get ready to close out. I know we're gonna go a little bit overtime. So because overtime is how we do it. We try not to I was trying one time to like get it in an hour, but it just doesn't work because this community is active. So again, if you're here for the first time, hit the likes. If you are interested in this platform and what we do here, hit the share it with someone if you got anything out of today. Let me see what's going over before I start. I see there's some folks over in Instagram. Come on over to our YouTube channel. And yes, follow us at Ron Lewis Photos or hit Touch Base Daily in Google. And I do, before I get started. Oh, no, let's get started. Let's go for it. So what camera should I buy as a beginner? Let's start. Let's get this in. This is going to be quick. We'll be done in 15 minutes. What camera should I buy as a beginner? What camera should I buy as a beginner? Here's a detailed breakdown of how we can address the question, what camera should I buy as a beginner, in an engaging and informative way. So I want you guys, if you have questions, make sure you put a Q. That looks like a Q. I think a Q, and dot in your question so I can address it. Okay. So put a Q and your question, because of all of the questions I get as a photographer, this is the number one question. What camera should I buy as a beginner? Here we go. Introduction to this. Welcome for all those that are here. Choosing the right camera for beginners is important. This video will cover DSLRs and mirrorless cameras. Oh, I forgot my little props. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot my props. Hold on a second. Well, should I get my props? Should I get my props for you guys? Are you guys willing to wait a moment so I can get my props for you? Let me get my props. Hold on a second. Okay. I'm getting my props for you. I got some props because that's going to help you learn. And we're all about learning because some of you really want to learn photography. So here we go. I'm back. Sorry for that interruption, but I forgot my props. So for those that don't know, it says this video will cover DSLRs. You probably say, what is a DSLR? DSLR. DSLRs are cameras like this one. And inside of it, we're going to break it down a little bit, but it has a mirror right on the inside and how it reflects and how it interprets your photo or your picture when you shoot. So, and it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit bulkier, but this is a DSLR. Then also we're going to talk about mirrorless cameras, which is something like this. They're smaller. Let me get this here. They're smaller, but they don't have a mirror inside, but they have what's called a sensor. So that thing that looks like a reflector in the back, that's a sensor. So mirrorless have sensors, mirrorless cameras. So that way, now I just want you guys to see what the difference. And they're usually smaller. DSLRs with mirrors on the inside. That means there's moving parts. This one is a sensor, less moving parts inside the body of this camera. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure. And obviously, and smartphone options. Well, you know we got smartphones. That was easy. Smartphones. Okay, the best camera depends on budget, interest, which is, are you taking portrait photos? Are you taking landscape photos? Are you taking street photography? Are you doing vlogging? And what is your future goal? How, like you may be a beginner, but where do you want to go? Where do you want to go as a photographer? Do you want to go into sports photography? Do you want to go into, content creating, just as a content creator? Do you want to do food photography, wedding photography, event photography, portraitures? What is your goal as a beginning photographer? And it's one also that I didn't throw in there, but these little guys, these are point and shoot cameras. And these little guys, this is what I take when I'm just kind of walking around the streets of New York. So, okay, next. Key factors to consider. The most important factors beginners should think about is budget. Entry-level cameras range from $300 to $1,000 plus. Next, type of photography. Again, portraits, landscapes, streets, vlogging, etc., etc., etc. What type of photography do you want to do? What do you want to do with your camera? These are determining factors. Here's another one. Ease of use. User-friendly interfaces and automatic modes. Like here, it has like these little buttons on the side. It makes it easy. I can do what's called touch screen. It's easy to adjust on my screen. The older models, I can't do that with on a DSLR, at least this one from Nikon. You have the glass information up here. It's easy. It's pretty easy to use, but it's a lot of buttons and bells and whistles in these cameras. Here's another one. Key factor to consider. Future proofing. Now, you probably never heard that before. Future proofing, the ability to upgrade lenses and accessories. For instance, you see here, this is what's called a body. If you get a camera like this, even the entry level ones, this is called a body. A body, right? And then you attach lenses to this body. You attach different types of lenses depending on the type of photography you want to use and want to do. If I'm doing portrait photographers, it requires a certain type of lens. If I'm doing sports photography, it requires a certain type of lens. But whatever my goal is as a photographer, I need to be able to get that camera body to take on the lenses that I need for my objective goal. Okay? So it should have the ability to upgrade the lenses and accessories. I can put a flash on here because it has what's called a shoot or a shoe right there. Oh, there we go. Right there. I can put a flash there, or I can use the flash that came with this camera, right? So I can put one on, and I'll show you that in a moment. What's a flash look like that? Hold on. Here we go. This is the flash. This is a flash I can put on top of the camera and use it accordingly to photograph in darkness or low light situations, right? Here we go. That's what we do, right? Perfect. Okay, so that's a flash, external flash. So you want a camera that you can expand on. Size and portability. Size and portability. Mirrorless cameras like this one are often smaller and lighter than the DSLR. Okay? Just so you know. Now, there are all the other types of cameras, fancy cameras out there, but for beginners, you want one of these 2 or 3, or you can start with your smartphone, right? Now, I did mention to you my point and shoot. My point and shoot camera is limited. It has everything built into it. Okay, there we go. So it has a zoom lens inside of it. It's built into it, but I can't change this lens. So I am limited into what I can photograph with this camera. This is great for my street photography. I'm walking around the streets. I'm doing my walks. I carry my camera around. I'm going to a little event, and I just want to have this with me. I can take something really quick. It's fast. I point and I shoot. Okay? But it's small and tiny. So I can just slide this onto my neck, and no one knows I have it. And it's kind of easy to conceal when I'm roaming the streets of New York. Okay, next. Best beginner cameras. This is something I have never done before. I have never listed this, but thanks to our wonderful DeepSeek, it gave me some great cameras. Entry level DSLRs, Canon EOS Rebels T7 EOS 2000D. Why? Because it's affordable, great for learning the basics, good for still photography and casual video. Also, we have the Nikon D3500. Excellent image quality, user-friendly, guide mode, lightweight, and great for beginners. Okay, I'm not supporting any of these. This is not brand endorsements. This is just cameras that the computer said, my AI machine said, these are the best cameras right now for beginners. That's the beauty of studying. Okay, next one. Entry-level mirrorless cameras. That's these babies like this one, right? When I take off this lens, you see how big this lens is? This is a big lens, right? But look how tiny it is compared with no lens. Look how small this is. right? Very small. But it gets these cameras are amazing. I love my mirrorless camera. But anyway, Sony Alpha. They have a Sony Alpha A6100. Fast autofocus, compact, and great for both photos and video. And also ideal for the vloggers who are on here, and hybrid shooters. Canon EOS M50 Mark II. Versatile, easy to use, and great for vlogging because we have a lot of content creators. Good selection of lenses for beginners. Okay. What's next? Let me go to the next one. Budget friendly options. Fujifilm X-T200. Stylish, lightweight, and excellent color production. Great for hobbyists who want a fun retro style camera. It was, as a matter of fact, this camera is one of the hottest cameras on the market. There was a back order because this is for those for the yuppies in New York City that want to walk around. Usually you see these, yuppie young folks walking around with this camera, the Fujifilm X, and it has that old time look. It has like a retro look to it, and they can walk around like they walk the streets of Paris. So anyway, but it has some style to it. Panasonic Lumix G7, another great camera, affordable. It has a 4K video and good for beginners interested in videography. Okay, right? So let me go here. Let me kind of reduce that. Is this making sense to anyone? Is this making any sense? Let me see what you guys are saying. Let me take a pause here. I see here. Probably. So you're good. Let's see what you guys got here. What you guys are saying. Anthony says DSLR digital single lens reflex. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for the abbreviation information there. Okay, and yes, and Anthony says you can also save money buying used gear. So we're going to talk about that. But before we go there, I want to just mention, and because I want to make sure I do this, is one, if you are interested in photography, you want tutoring, you can reach out to me. I do tutoring. I've tutored on all kinds of cameras, so you can reach out to me, Photograph Your World, virtual basic photography 101, and I do it virtually. So that means I can teach you wherever you are in the world. So we can do that together. And also, again, thank you for the folks who sponsor this. Rolling Clouds, the Patreon community, and it treatments those are the sponsors that support and make this platform possible again. So now we're going back to the lesson. Okay, so the next thing online is a smartphone photography. Modern smartphones. That's pretty much all of these guys. Examples: iPhone 15 Pro, but now we got the 16 Pro. We got some new ones that are coming out. We got the 17 coming out, hopefully in the middle of this year. For Apple, we got Samsung Galaxy 24. I think someone told me the 25 is coming out. We have the Google Pixel 8. Can be great starting points for beginners if you are looking for not just a phone, but you're looking for a camera. Because most photographers, we don't just want a phone. We want a phone that can shoot. So we have cameras on our phones, and we want the best ones out there. So smartphones have convenience. They're portable and advanced computational photography features. So you got all kinds of bells and whistles in your smartphone. Next, lenses and accessories. Lenses are just as important as the camera body. The old saying among photographers, you got to get some good glass. Sounds like a jazz song, right? Get some glass. That's what, when you hear photographers say that, yo, tell me, hey, what kind of glass you got there? They're talking about the lenses. The lenses, these little babies here, let me pop this one off again. This little baby right here is called a lens, and it goes onto the camera. And you want a good lens because the lens is like someone with a bad eye. If you don't have a good eye, you can't see properly. A lens does the same thing. You want your best lens you can find. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of photographers that will make sure they put all of their money into their lenses. They will rather have 2 top of the line lenses than 5 cheap lenses. Right, photographers out there? They would rather have 2 top of the line lenses versus 5 cheap lenses, because this lens is everything to your photo. Okay, so just remember that. Remember that the lens, the glass, is so important. So here we go. Lenses are just as important as the camera body. I recommend starting with a kit lens, usually 1855. Now, what they mean by kit lens is like this zoom lens. It's a zoom lens. Kit lens are usually in lower numbers, but they are like zoom. They do have a zoom feature. This one has a zoom feature, but they're not. This one's a much larger lens. This one is 18300. But to start a lens, like for just starting, you don't need something this powerful. You can get something that's 1855 millimeter, and that gives you the ability to zoom in and zoom out, right? To zoom in and zoom out with a good lens. However, with a zoom lens, you do what they call sacrifice a little bit of quality in the picture, meaning they're not as sharp, but it's so small that you can't recognize, especially in today's world with the way lenses and technology is for cameras. Then it says here, usually an 18 millimeter for DSLRs, mirrorless, or a prime lens. Now, prime lens is a lens. Do I have one right here? I don't have one right here. It's a fixed lens, meaning it's no zoom. You can't zoom. It's just that number. So it's an 85 millimeter lens. It's a 50 millimeter lens. And you put that onto the camera and it doesn't zoom. It's just a fixed lens. It's a prime lens. Now, the benefit of the prime lens is that you get a more crisp photo. The clarity is sharper because it doesn't have to go through several mechanisms within the body of a zoom. And the pictures are usually more crisp. Okay? And you become the zoom. When you have a prime lens, you got to go move forward or move backwards off the subject. When you have a zoom lens, you can stay still and zoom in and zoom out. Okay. So it says for those prime lenses, for better low light performance, because you can get that nice f-stop down to like a 1.2, 1.4, 1.8. Performance and bokeh. Like you see, it's like these little lights. We call that bokeh. Hold on a second. Probably my doctor calling. And next is here are some essential accessories. Memory cards. These little guys, like you see this right here? This is called a memory card. I usually carry a 1 terabyte in my camera, and because my camera has two drive slots, and I can put in my 1 terabyte, which means I can do lots of photography. It serves as a backup usually. And then I have another Do I have that here with me? Do I have that? No, I don't have it with me. But I have another SD card that goes into the camera, and then that will be my backup. This one has 2 slots as well. So I have a backup that kind of like keeps my photos, and then I take one and I use it to do my edits and stuff. So memory cards are important. And yes, you want to get quality memory cards. That's a whole nother subject in itself, so we won't go into it. But you want good quality cards. This one is a SanDisk, which I use most of the time. And so that's that. The cards, memory cards. Also, extra batteries. These cameras do have batteries. If I pop this open, there we go. There's a battery right in there. That goes right in here, right there. Done. Batteries are right there. So, and a basic camera bag and strap. Well, I just happen to have my big bag here. This one is my on the road bag, and I use this everywhere I pretty much go. But if I am on the road and I'm doing something corporate, or I'm doing something a little more high end, then I have this bag. And if you go inside of these bags, they have compartments inside the bags. So, and those compartments protect the lens, protect the body. Is this useful information to anyone out there? Are you finding this useful? Let me know. If you find this useful, let me know in the comment box. The comments, not the comic, the comment box. Okay, I see here. Let me see what you guys are saying. Are there any questions out there? I didn't see any cues. I did not see any cues. Okay. There have been a lot of AI jobs popping up in LinkedIn. Okay, see that. I see that. Well, yeah, you guys got the conversation going while I'm talking lessons. You can also save money with gear. I love the Google Pixel. Anthony says he loves the Google Pixel. Warren says Siri budget lens, Rokinen, and Austria Artisan. They all sell budget lenses for Sony and Fuji, I believe. Okay, I'll put that up there. So you got that. And Anthony says that this is definitely a photographer saying is date your bodies, marry your lens. Because most of the time you will change out your body and get a new body, but you want your lenses to be with you forever. Very true, Anthony, another photographer in the room. Date your bodies, but marry your lenses. Okay, I see that. Emperor sends out absolutely 100%. And Derek says they now sell different. Oh, he says they now sell different lenses for the iPhone to shoot different types of shots. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. There are lenses you can add on to your smartphones. Yes, you can. Anthony says, one of my favorite photos was shot with a kit lens on an entry-level body. Yes, right. And Warren says, Tamron sells excellent off-brand zooms, but cheaper. Yes, I do have a Tamron lens. I have one. I have one that I use, and I love my Tamron lens. Derek says yes. Mimi says yes. Okay, so you guys are getting something out of this. Anthony says yes. Warren says yes. Ron caught a tide right quick. Y'all better listen to the lessons. That's right. I charge for these lessons. Y'all better take notes. My students pay for this. My students pay for this. Lisa says, we better. That's right. You better. You better be taking this in. You better be learning. Okay, here we go. I got all your statements. Okay, so next, and we're almost done. Tips for beginners. Start with automatic modes. On all of these cameras, there's what's called automatic. It's okay to use the automatic mode. And then gradually learn your manual settings. Learn them. Yeah. What is your aperture? What is the speed? Your shutter speed, your ISO. Learn all those little bells and whistles. But you got to learn. When I talk to my students, I say, please study the manual. Please read through your manual. The first class when I have my students, the first thing I tell them, pick up the manual so you understand all the nomenclature. What is nomenclature? That is all of the bells and whistles, the buttons, the screens, the lens, what everything means and what it all does. Nomenclature. You need to know the nomenclature of your camera. Okay, next thing. Practice composition techniques like we've talked about here. Rule of thirds, leading lines, etc. Don't get overwhelmed by gear. Yes, do not be that guy or girl that they're so into the gear that they don't ever learn how to be a photographer. It is focus on learning and creativity. That is where you want to put your energy. That is where you want to put your knowledge. That's where you want to experiment. That's where you want to put your time. Focus on learning and being a creative. Their creativity. What was nice about going to art galleries and going to museums and seeing great photography, they took those photos with less technical gear. Look at Jamel Shabazz. Jamel Shabazz had less technical gear in the 80s, 90s, and his work is shown in galleries and museums around the world. Right? It's not don't focus on the gear. I've been to workshops, and it's that annoying person in the side that's always asking, so what are you shooting with? What size lens? What's the numbers on your lens? What's the numbers on your camera? What kind of camera? What's the model? When did they make that camera? You're like, please just shut up. Just shut up. Learn how to be a photographer. Learn rule of thirds. Learn leading lines. Learn how to, take photos in shadow and light. Learn. Be creative. Just take the doggone thing out and use it. Take the camera out and use it. Now we conclude. Top recommendations are based on different needs and budgets. That's what we learned today. Top recommendations are based on different needs and budgets. Those cameras that we listed, those are just samples. You don't have to go out and buy those cameras that were listed here. But at least you have a starting point. When you go into your camera store, you can say, I need a camera like this one, or I would like cameras that fit this type of camera. I'm a beginner. I want to have cameras that are going to grow with me. I need a camera that can grow with me. This is my ultimate. If you go to a good camera shop, they're going to ask you all the right questions. But at least when you go to the camera shop, because of this lesson, you will be able to ask the right questions. Right? Next, please feel free to comment with your questions or share what camera you're using. I would like to know. Put it in the comment box. Because a lot of people in here are photographers. What camera are you using? Share what camera you're using. And next week, we'll be talking about what is the exposure triangle. Okay, so next Tuesday, on our next Tip Tuesday, we'll be doing that. It'll be what is the exposure triangle? So we're going to, every question that people ask about photography, we're going to do that. Okay, and let's see here. And are we good? We're good here. There we go. Did you learn anything today? Did you learn anything today out there? Amparo says, I'm about to upgrade to a D810. This is my D810, Amparo. D810 right here. I love my D810. I love it. Anthony says Nikon Z8 and Nikon Nikon D850. Boy, you got the good stuff. Woo! You got that Z8, baby. That's a camera. Felicia says, Fifi's in the building. She says, hey, everyone. She said, love you, Ron. And Warren says, Ron, my hours for work have changed. I won't be able to join. This has been an eye-opening experience. Thank you. Well, Warren, that's why we have replays. You can always catch us on YouTube. That's why we're not on Instagram, right? Because Instagram, you can't save it and look it up and enjoy it and index it. You can always go to YouTube, stay on YouTube, and you can catch the replay anytime you like. You can watch us on your big screen TV. Okay. Desava says, good. Yes, good information as always. Amparo says, looking to go mirrorless Nikon Z2. You trying to get both of my cameras. I got the Nikon Z2 right here. I got the Nikon Z2 right here. Okay. So there you have it. So if you want to play with it, we can hang out and you can play with mine. Mimi says, great information. Mimi Hinton says, great information. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Again, hit the likes if you're here for the first time, and put comments in the comment box, and that will help the algorithms and also let people know that we are here on this platform to serve. Okay, it is. We've been on here an hour and a half. I'm gonna have to let you go. It's 12:30. It's time to let you go, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. And let's be vigilant. I'm going to put all the information in the, you can find for the Patreon folks. All of those are Patreon members. You can become a Patreon member by supporting what I do here. But what you do on Patreon, let me just share that real quick, because if you want to see the whole lesson, if you want the lesson, go to, let me see here. Let me go here. So, before I run out of here. Okay, there you go. There you have it. There you have it. This is today's lesson. It's on Patreon. So it's all laid out, nice and neat, nice and gathered here. All the information, everything you need is right here on the Patreon page for the Patreon members, the paying Patreon members. Okay, so become a Patreon member and invest in what we do here. Okay, so there you go. On Patreon, just go to Ron Lewis Photos, and there you have it. I see here Dave Sava says, have a great one, Ron. Absolutely. Thank you, dear. And also, I see in here. Yes. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Again, get on. I'll put all the links for all the Instagram and also for Roland inside the description of this video. Okay, guys. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy. Bye.